Okay, so what we do is we pick the colors. So we get the colors a little bit varied. We have a white one here, we have a brown one here, a rusty one. We have a completely black one here, grayish colors. So we match the colors up. But what's different with this work is these stones cannot be chiseled. If you hit them, they blow up. There's not much you can do with them. So what we need to do is actually cut every stone, and I will show you how we do that. So we always use a grouting bag and our grouting trowel, and we grout these all in, but we leave it a little bit rough and it wears off with time and it starts to look really good. We always have these cement details that we like to put into our work. The cement details make it more grounded, like it makes, you know, if this was one massive stone wall, it wouldn't look as good as if you had some architectural detail pieces inside the wall itself. Our copings are very important because they actually frame off. So when you come to this point, it's the stones can stick up a little bit because the coping is going to hide it regardless, so it doesn't really matter. So that's a good way to not have to cut the top perfectly straight because you're ending up burying it in the coping itself, which makes a really big difference. So this string line here is the top of our wall. We're going to make a looking window through here. So we're going to actually frame this in with metal so you can see the gardens. The way we do our stone work is a little bit different because the moment you hit this stone, the moment you hit this piece, it'll smash here, so you can't ever hit it. So the only way we can install this wall is by cutting everything. So I'll give you an example. So let's say I was going to come over here. Let's say this piece here. So I would come like this. Fits really nice. That's not too far into the wall, so I'm okay with that. So basically we mark every piece and we try to get away with not having to cut too much. So when you don't want to cut too much, it's really good to have a good selection of stone. And what we really try to do, this is all dusty, but we try to really put different colors in the wall itself, like having a white one, a rusty one, again, that makes a really big difference. String line helps, definitely. You should always use a string line. And if we have any spaces that are too big, we will put a triangle in there to hide up that. Here too, we like to put pieces in, art pieces into the walls just to break it up a bit. And so these are framed by column to column. And when you frame something column to column, you basically have a place to run a string line, and you have a place to make a flat wall in between these two columns. So it makes a big difference when you have columns on the end of your stonework. And there's no way we could do this in natural stone. We can't do stone returns. It would be almost impossible because the stone can't be chiseled really well. And the wall, in my opinion, should look very organic. And what I mean by that is you have lots of varying stones in here, and not everything is horizontal. Like this piece here has a different slope. So you do that, and we're doing the stone wall on both sides. So what that does is gives you a depth of the wall itself. And then from here, we're going to put our coping again. And this coping will finish this off nicely, so these pieces can go into the coping and they get cast in place. These walls have lots of rebar in them, and the rebar will keep this wall nice and solid. There's no question about it. Our stone selection is what we found on the building site itself. We didn't bring anything in. It's all here on site, and it makes it really hard because it's really hard to chisel this stuff. But what's really a good tip is to pick pieces that are thinner. When you have a thinner piece, it's easier to cut off this angle because it's not 3 inches thick, it's only 1 inch thick, so it's a lot easier to cut this off. So when you're fitting pieces, just, you know, you find you try many rocks to see if anything works. There we go. There you go. You got a piece that actually fits quite well there. So that's what we do, is we have a variety of pieces that we actually piece in, and by doing that we don't have to cut as much, which saves a lot of time. So that's how we make these really distinctive stone walls, is by piecing them together and having a good selection of rocks on hand.